Hey guys, today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my marketing journey from when I started off as a solo marketer. So I left the company that I was working with, absolutely great company. Main reason that I chose to leave was because somebody had to leave because they had one redundancy coming up. So I thought, well, I can do this. I am very, very competent. I can basically do everything I need to survive. And so I chose to be the one that left the company. So basically, after I left, I had got a website that I'd already set up because I kind of knew this was coming. And I basically had like a homepage, a little bit of information about myself. And in my first couple of days, I started tweaking it and making it look a lot more professional. Beforehand, it had looked a little bit spacey. Pretty much everything I do is spacey. If you want to check out some of the spacey stuff I've done, just look up chamwarus.com. That's my sci-fi sort of style that I like. But basically, when I'd got the site ready and it was kind of ready to start selling stuff, rather than actually advertising out to people, I started writing blogs. So what I did is I created a huge amount of different blogs that I could interlink together. So one blog can link to another blog, which links to another one. And I kind of built this big diagram. So what I'd do is I'd make sure that all of the blogs were linked in a very, very specific way to maximize the keywords that are in the blogs and make sure that the site would rank in a number of different ways. And that started when I got that ready and got that all sorted out. I got Google to crawl my site and basically add all of the new blogs. So after that, I kind of just took a few days and kind of relaxed. Now, in terms of the amount of blogs I did about 40 blogs. There was a lot of work, so I took a couple of days off at that point. I kind of needed to relax because my head was really, really buzzing with all sorts of different things. After that, I came back with a fresh set of perspectives. So I purchased a content studio subscription, which I've got to this day. That was one of their lifetime package deals, so I've got that on. I can use that whenever. And I created my own Facebook page for my marketing company. So after I created the Facebook page for the company, I basically set up a load of posts that were going to go up for either my business or were links back to my blog. And they were going to go up to, say, 2 posts per week to stop it being spammy and to keep a never-ending cycle of evergreen content going. So I've got that now cycling in the background. That's really, really good. So I kind of left that to tick a little bit. And once that had ticked a bit, I put out a couple of Facebook ads. They got a few people to contact me, which was really, really good. But then I remembered that I'd tried selling this product over the phone a while back, and I thought, right, I'll go and call a load of companies. Now, cold calling companies was probably the worst experience of my life. I owe a lot to my friend Sam for putting up with my constant harassment and begging for help, and she was really, really helpful with that. But I eventually got to the point where I was cold calling people all the time, and it was driving me absolutely nuts because nobody was interested, especially in some nobody that they'd never heard of contacting them. So I kind of drifted away from that, but that's when the blogs really started to kick in. I started getting people contacting me, and somebody contacted me from a website that I'd done a while back when I was working with the company, because I put that the SEO had been done specifically by me, and we had a conversation. I got involved in the stuff that he was doing, and that was really, really positive. So basically, because I got that kind of one client, it gave me a lot more confidence, and I put money immediately into getting my adverts out, and I funneled a little bit more in when that started being successful, and before I knew it, I had quite a number of different clients. Now, my style of marketing is quite different from a lot of people. So what I like to do is I like to go out to a company, I like to see who I'm working with. In the majority of cases, it's restaurant marketing. I've done some amazingly successful restaurant marketing for people. I've got a real knack for it. So basically, when I was going out to places, I'd take my cameras and I'd take loads of pictures of the food, different products and things like that. And all of this is part of when I originally go to a business, I say, can I come and take loads of pictures? And part of that agreement with the business is I get to put those things up on a website which I like called Pexels, where you can give people free images. So I've got loads and loads and loads of images on my Pexels account that people can just use in their marketing materials for free, and that's part of the free service. So people basically, they get loads of nice photographs of stuff, including their brand and everything like that, and then I basically get people sometimes contacting me even through Pexels for information, which is really, really quite good. So it's like there are some it's a very complicated thing starting out, and it was very rocky because I didn't really know what I was doing. All I knew was SEO, and I need to get this stuff out there. I know SEO, I know building marketing systems and things like that. I built some amazing marketing systems, my God, I'll tell you one of them. So back at the company, amazing. We built this marketing system that was basically, we were trying to vet people for fostering leads. So a chatbot was set up in order to kind of vet people. So they would answer with specific answers, and if they passed the test, they would be a qualified lead. So what would happen is that information would be sent over, and the information gets saved up. Now, because it took so long for the staff to get everything organised and make sure that all the leads were coming in, and to control it and make sure that it was all set up and nice, I got a bit stressed out with it because I was covering a lot of different accounts at the time. And basically, what I did was I set up a new system. So it would, when everything was shot from Facebook through Zapier, it would also give all of the information through the chatbot. So it would come from Facebook to the chatbot, and the chatbot would go through Zapier. Then what it would happen is the leads would then go into spreadsheets. And one of the things that I did with these spreadsheets was I set up multiple spreadsheets so that they'd all work together. So I had one major control panel which was pulling information from all of these people together. And what I did was I made sure to track the number of people who were qualified leads, because we were paid to get a certain amount of qualified leads per month. This way, if anyone went over, we'd get a little warning that would show up and let us know that we were over the quota of people that we needed for the month. And by doing this, we were able to save quite a bit of money. So this is just one example of like probably about 100 different marketing systems I've set up, but it made everything a lot simpler, and it took the job of about 3 staff, sorry. It took the job of 3 staff who were working at it, very like putting in a lot of time and effort, making sure all that information was there. It took it down to 1 staff who was able to make the emails to the companies, and that would take about an hour. So rather than most of the week being used up by a large number of people, it was just simplifying everything and just making it really, really easy to use. So, you know, that's kind of where I come from, and I liked building systems. And because I like building these complicated systems, although I've gone away from it now because I've realized that over time, let's say you've got a problem with Zapier, or you've got a problem with the chatbot. Well, let's say the chatbot has an error and it's not connecting to Zapier, and Zapier's not connecting to Google Sheets for whatever, and you've got all sorts of little issues that are occurring. Your Facebook ads aren't going to know that, and you're going to receive really, really problematic issues. So I try and keep things as simple as possible now, rather than going into the extreme sort of levels of chaos that you can get into with these marketing systems. I think one of the marketing systems I had something like 70 or 80 different steps. It was really, really convoluted. So I'll give you an example. It would basically take blogs automatically. It would put those blogs out on Tumblr and link it back in using things like if this then that as well, and it would basically, because I needed to build a fail-safe in. So for example, if one thing doesn't work, there will be another thing which will send stuff out to the other section of things, and then that would put information on things like Blogger and all sorts of things. So it's like building complicated systems was fun for me, but getting started out as a marketer on my own was hard because I couldn't go to people and say, hey, I can build you a system, I can do marketing for you, because no one's interested. So the best thing to do if you're starting out as a marketer is basically get your website sorted out, write a bunch of blogs, make sure you've got like a nice automated post cycler. There are quite a few out there that you can get for free, although the paid ones do tend to be better. I've got paid ones, which I use, which is really, really good. Content Studio has always been really, really good for me, although that is paid. I'm not going to be trying to hit you with any things where I say you should definitely use this software. Find a software that's right for you. I will give demonstrations on how to use certain things, but it's much, much better for people, especially when they're making their own systems, to find stuff that will actually work with them. That's what being bespoke is all about. But I'm starting to waffle a little bit and I've gone off the rails. But when it comes down to it, putting out a couple of Facebook adverts once you've got your system rotating, once you've got your website up, once you're feeling a little bit smooth and everything, because that will build you up more as an authority. And yeah, people will like your pages and no one will interact with you, and that can be really, really harrowing. But the biggest waste of time for me in all of this was cold calling people. So in the first couple of months that I'd started out, I managed to amass 18 clients. I've had as high as 23, 24, but it gets too complicated for me, too overwhelming. When it comes to, I can only cope with a certain amount of clients because everybody wants something. I'm going to give you some advice in regard to dealing with this kind of situation at some point. My number one piece of advice would be try not to be an emotional support bridge for your clients too much, because the thing is, otherwise you end up having to deal with like midlife crises every single day for like 3 or 4 different people, and it's really, really hard. And I have done that. I have literally been on the phone to people who are crying, and it's very, very hard to actually remain professional, because when you're a marketer, you should care about your clients and how they are, and it can be an absolute nightmare to deal with that kind of thing. I'm not saying that I have any regrets about it, but it's one of those things where you need to establish a boundary with clients, and that's something I've had to learn. So when I started marketing, I cared far too much about the emotional state of my clients. And because of that, it was costing me time, it was costing me energy, costing me money, because I was spending so much time working on this, and in many ways it had a detrimental impact on their business, because most of the time that they had me helping them for, it was actually I was helping them rather than helping their business, which would have probably been better for them. So when it comes down to it, you need to really have a good boundary when it comes to clients. Anyway, I've whittled on far too long. This has been a really long video. Oh my god. See, still going prematurely bald, although I think it might be growing back. That's worrying. Anyway, that was my start in marketing. I hope it helps, and hope it cheers you up some. Bye.